My father said it was a gift from God, how I could see music. I thought everyone could see sound.
Out of this world.
I'm going to set down what I dare not say aloud.
Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful.
What's your secret?
You don't have to say.
I'll keep that in mind.
Hello and welcome to this week's film show. From forbidden gay love to leather-clad queer desire, I'm joined by film critic Emma Jones to break down the biggest new releases of the month. We begin with a film led by two actors who rarely put a foot wrong, though this time some critics think they might have. The History of Sound stars Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. It premiered in competition at Cannes to lukewarm reviews. But Emma, you think differently, don't you?
I really do think differently. I don't understand those critics who thought this film was too restrained, even boring. I find it delicate in its understatement. So the story begins in 1917 when a reserved music academic, David, that's Josh O'Connor's character, meets Lionel, played by Paul Mescal, who's from a less privileged background, but he's more emotionally open. They form a deep connection over their shared love of American folk music.
Such lovely music in this film. I met with Paul Mescal and the director Oliver Hermanus in Cannes, and I asked Oliver why he wanted to work with these actors.
You know, you think of the people who you are most desperate to work with, and I was most desperate to work with them.
And did you know that Paul could sing?
I did actually know that Paul could sing because I think somebody had sent me you singing
that's when I was
in
back
Italy, in Normal People. You were, I think it was a sort of
on
a balcony.
Singing Pavarotti on the balcony. Jeez, who sent you that?
Lisa.
Don't sing love songs, you'll wake my mother. She's sleeping here right by my side.
If I had what you had, I'd lead. I'd go far away, flee.
In her right hand a silver dagger. Says that I can't be your bride.
I really love their chemistry. Why do you think the critics weren't convinced that this was a passionate love story?
Well, I think there were a lot of comparisons to Brokeback Mountain, the 2005 film by Ang Lee, which starred two real movie star heartthrobs of the time, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger. And this was another so-called forbidden gay love story. And I think those comparisons have really frustrated the History of Sound cast. More than anything, I feel it speaks to the volumes about Hollywood's lack of filmmaking when it featuring same-sex love stories between two men, that they have to hark back 20 years for a comparison. You know, crucially, I find this is a love story of its time. Their relationship does not have declarations. Their romantic idyll is this short time after the First World War when they tramp through the American countryside, capturing traditional folk songs on wax cylinders. It's the happiest time, it proves, of both David and Lionel's life. But the director does not offer us this romantic release. Instead, the film is about a love story that's never fully lived.
No, but a lovely watch, all the same.
It's great.
Moving on to some light relief then with Is This Thing On by Bradley Cooper. This is the story of a man discovering the power of stand-up comedy as his marriage falls apart.
Yeah, well, indeed. This is inspired by a real-life experience of a British comedian called John Bishop, who's got a story credit on this. It's Bradley Cooper's third film as a feature director after A Star Is Born and Maestro. And once again, this film is all about love and live performing, I guess. So it stars Arrested Development's Will Arnett, and he plays Alex, a man in the middle of separating from his wife, Tess, who's played by Laura Dern. And broke, and at the end of his tether, one night Alex wanders into a New York bar, finds he can escape the entrance fee if he'll just perform on the comedy club stage for about 5 minutes. So it's not so much a star being born as a love of stand-up, surprisingly.
OK, well, let's see more of Is This Thing On?
I think I'm getting a divorce. What tipped me off was that I'm living in an apartment on my own, and my wife and kids don't live there. That was probably the biggest clue.
Why are you doing stand-up?
Getting a divorce.
You cheated.
No.
You didn't cheat and you get a divorce? Oh, that's some white guy shit.
I've been doing stand-up. Is it like a hobby?
Well, I'm not about to quit my job and go on tour. It's just it's something I look forward to.
It looks interesting, Emma. I understand Will Arnett was thrown to the comedy wolves in real New York comedy clubs for this role.
Yes, for 5 or 6 weeks, apparently, Will Arnett would introduce himself to audiences in stand-up comedy clubs as Alex Novak and then try comedy himself. And apparently he recounts that at one time he can only hear one person laughing at the back, and that was Bradley Cooper. Obliged to laugh. And I guess that's the point of stand-up comedy. You expose yourself and it's a question of whether anyone listens to you rather than laughs at you. So it's the sadness and the frustration of its impending divorce that gives Alex the material he needs for his stand-up routines. And the film, of course, could go one of two ways. When Tess inevitably discovers what is going on, could she, as per John Bishop's real story, reconnect with him, making it a remarriage story? What do you reckon?
Oh, wow, that sounds interesting. OK, well, let's move on to something completely different. Documentary by the great Haitian director Raoul Peck. He's already explored figures such as Karl Marx and the renowned American novelist James Baldwin. In his new work, Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5, he brings the British author George Orwell to the screen. Let's take a look.
The very concept of objective truth is fading out of this world.
I'm going to set down what I dare not say aloud.
Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful.
The love in the air, I've never seen anything like it.
And murder respectable. Freedom is slavery. War is peace. Ignorance is strength. Totalitarianism, if not fought against, could triumph anywhere.
Well, this certainly looks interesting. It's centred around Orwell's last work, 1984, which was published 76 years ago.
Yes, indeed. The film is narrated by the actor Damian Lewis, and it partly tells a story of Orwell's writing of 1984 on the Scottish island of Jura. As you say, it was the last book he completed. He died 7 months after its publication. And the documentary also partly tells of Orwell's story again, in his own words, his birth into the British Empire of the time, and how his early service in Myanmar, or Burma as it was then, the tyranny of what he witnessed, helped shape his future political views. And the documentary also skillfully uses film or TV adaptations of 1984 and his other dystopian classic, Animal Farm, narrated over contemporary news footage. Now, Raoul Peck was a guest here on Arts 24 recently, and he spoke about how Orwell warned about the use of language in undermining democracy.
Basically, Orwell delivers us the whole toolbox that is being used right now, not only in the US, but elsewhere in more non-democratic countries. Like the degradation of the language is a condition for the degradation of democracy. To attack the truth, there is alternative truth now.
You can watch the full interview there with Raoul Peck on France 24's website, france24.com. Peck's documentary on James Baldwin, I'm Not Your Negro, was nominated for an Oscar. But this film hasn't had the same critical success, has it?
No, despite that contemporary relevance that it's got. It did premiere, I think, at Cannes last year. It didn't make the awards season shortlist, though. I suppose it could be argued it's not quite as good a documentary as the simply superb I Am Not Your Negro. And at 2 hours long, I did find it, a bit long for a documentary. However, there is no doubt that it does provide fresh illumination into George Orwell's state of mind when he wrote 1984, and that Orwell's words on the fragility of democracy, as always, feel highly relevant.
OK, well, we're wrapping up with a film you and I love. It's called Pillion, a British debut feature that won the Best Screenplay prize in Cannes and Certain Regards section. It's directed by Harry Lighton. It stars Alexander Skarsgård and Harry Melling, who many still remember as Dudley Dursley in the Harry Potter films. But here, he certainly leaves that image far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. No more will you remember him as Dudley Dursley. If you watch Pillion, you will always remember Harry Melling in this part as Colin. This is an adaptation of an Adam Mars Jones novel, Box Hill. It's set in South London. Colin is a young gay man who encounters the godlike, leather-clad Ray, played by Alexander Skarsgård, who else? And he can't believe his luck when Ray appears to be interested in him. What Ray has in mind, though, is that Colin will make an ideal sub. That means submissive for him in a relationship. So Colin sleeps on the floor of Ray's apartment, cooks his meals, and endures Ray's verbal abuse. So we're introduced into the world of a BDSM relationship, made curiously mundane because of its suburban British setting, it has to be said.
I saw one critic compare it to Wallace and Gromit, actually. Pillion is out in France this month, but it premiered in London last year. Here's Alexander Skarsgård explaining what attracted him to the part.
It was about a subculture that I felt hadn't been portrayed on cinema much, and when it has been portrayed, it's often done in tonally a very different way from the way Harry Leiden, our director, approached it. It was surprisingly, reading it the first time, I was surprised at how sweet and funny it was, that it wasn't, yes, it is graphic and it's sexy, but it's also tender and awkward and weird. And I mean, I thought it was, I really just love the script.
I love Alexander Skarsgård's outfit there as well. Still going method, I see, for the part. Okay, well, the reason I think why Pillion has resonated, though, not only did it get a win at Cannes, but it was also nominated for 3 BAFTAs, is this is still a love story. It proves to be a transformative relationship for both Colin and Ray, even if the odds are it might not last. And I have to say, I love this film, and I thought it was a perfect debut.
Okay, it certainly was. I loved it too. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to leave you then with a look at Pillion. Remember, it's the French Film Awards, the Césars this week. You can see the highlights online at france24.com on the Arts 24 page. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Did you kiss?
I don't think that is any of your business.
Well, fair enough. What's your secret?
You don't have to say.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm not sure I like the way you talk to my son.
Well, that is fine. It's not for you to like.
Excuse me?